this recording.
Let me know when they're ready for this month, and I'll do them.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I've got, by the way, all the prior videos are now on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all those files from, I think it's Google Drive. I'm going to delete all those files. So all our meetings have been uploaded now to YouTube. And we've got, I think last time I checked, we have 35 subscribers. Woohoo!
38.
38. Woo!
Okay. Let us get going then with the meeting. So welcome everybody. As you're probably aware, Peter is absent this evening. He is over across the pond, I guess, in England. I think he's coming back shortly, later this week or this weekend, something like that. But he will not be in attendance. He is somewhere, I don't know, drinking a frosty pint of Guinness or something like that. But anyway, I think his trip is going well from the little snippets of communications I've had with him. So. Regardless, I've got a decent turnout tonight. I guess I should put my camera on. Why don't I do that? That would be nice as a host, wouldn't it? Come on, go.
Are you in the barn?
I am not in the barn. No, I am just in the basement as usual, but I've got a wired connection, so I don't know why my camera isn't starting. Come on. And now I've pressed the button too many times, so it's on. Got a green light.
Kevin, your video looks like it's a police lineup mugshot.
Can you see something?
Maybe that's why the camera's not coming on.
Kevin's video, he looks like it's a police lineup video.
Oh, Kevin.
I am, yeah. Well, I am leaning up against a wall, and the lighting's about right for that. So some days I feel like that. So what the hell? I may as well look like it.
All you need is stripes for the height, right?
I'll get the straight. I'll get the orange perp shirt, right?
There we go. Okay, so I think my video's on now. As grainy as it looks, but there we are. Okay. So hi everybody. We've got 10 people I think on the call, which is pretty good for a summer evening. Although it's kind of wet where I am. I don't know what it's like where you are, but we've had a lot of inclement weather this afternoon and evening. So thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, whatever. But we are in the clear now. So just a little drizzle outside as I ran to the barn and back because I forgot something there that I wanted to show and tell later on. So anyway, so only one response to my call out for any things that you wanted to talk about this evening. Dave is going to be talking about some modifications that he's done to a Morse code tutor kit that W8BH I guess created, and then a Canadian out in Alberta had kitted together, and that we built back in June, I guess it was. So made some strides, I think, with that, and is going to go over it with us. So the other little housekeeping thing I wanted to mention, if you are at all interested, in about 6 weeks, there's another edition of the QSO Today Ham Expo that's coming up September 17th and 18th. So if that's of any interest to you, I think some of you have participated in the past, watched it. I believe it's either nominal or free to watch. So that's something you might want to put on your agenda. Always a interesting lineup of speakers. And if you don't catch it live to be interactive with it, there's always a YouTube, I think, stream that you can, or not YouTube recordings that you can watch all of the presentations afterwards. So, so I think that was really it. Does anyone else have anything that they want to discuss up at the top that's going to take a little bit of time, or are we good?
scary story to tell.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got something for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay. You got to turn the lights off, Dave. It's not working. I can see too much of your face. Wow. My camera is really choppy. I'm getting lots of unable to access my camera for some reason. Don't know. Okay. Well, I guess without further ado, let's us get going. So, Dave, are you ready to rock and roll?
Do you want my scary story first, or do you want my the presentation? It's not the modifications, Eric. It's just the build we did tonight. I just have like some pictures
Okay.
and an explanation of the build.
I've been waiting for that scary story for 2 days now.
I think that we should start with that then. That sounds now that you've baited us, you know. I think you should go ahead. That's better. Much better. Much better.
Okay. So
But you can't smile.
I can't help it. I can't help it. Okay, so this weekend I was canoeing on the Grand River, and we're canoeing along, and on the river we see 3 deer with 2 bucks, young deer, and they're going across the river, and the deer at the end was a doe. Looked as if she was stuck, and I thought she was injured. But eventually, as soon as they saw us approaching them, and the river, the Grand River, that weekend was a long weekend. It was packed, like literally hundreds of people in canoes and kayaks. And so the deer ran across, and all of a sudden we started to hear gunshots. And this was from a rifle, not a shotgun, because there's a difference between a shotgun and a rifle. Rifle has more of a crack, right? As opposed to a shotgun, it's more of an explosion, right? So we kept hearing these shots, and it's not uncommon for around here where I live, because down the river, last time I canoed, there was someone firing a shotgun. And so I think it's just farmers and there's a couple of target ranges, gun clubs in the Brant area. So we just kept canoeing along, and we're hearing these rifles, and all of a sudden a shot came right over our head. And I've never heard a rifle, I've never heard a bullet, because you could hear it coming through the trees right across and then going through the trees on the other side. And at that point, we almost dropped the brick, because here's someone shooting a rifle and these rounds are coming out over the river. And so we ducked down, and we're just shitting bricks, because we thought it's a bunch of yahoos shooting guns, right? And so we canoed about, I don't know, 100 feet, and I pulled off, and I called the police. I called 911, and I spoke to Brantford OPP detachment, and I said, look, someone's shooting a gun, and the rounds coming over the river, and you guys better come check it out. I gave them where we were. They said they're going to dispatch someone. So I'm getting back in the canoe, and you could still hear shots going off. So got back in the canoe, and another couple behind us in 2 kayaks, they were coming along, and I said to them, I said, hey, did you guys hear those shots? They said, yeah, shots came over our head. I said, oh, because one came over our head. And I said, you better call the police and report it. So they called the police and also reported it as well. I canoed the river. The section river I canoed is about 2 hours. So once I came off the canoe and my son picked us up, we're driving back. OPP called me, and they said it was Bigfoot. Sorry. What scary story you got to throw Bigfoot? No, anyway, so they found the guys. This is the scary part. This is where I should really put on the light here. This is the scary part. They found the guys, investigated it, and said they were lawfully shooting their rifle. I almost fainted. I said to quote unquote, I said, how could that be lawful when a round came over the river where hundreds of people are canoeing? How is that lawful? Right? And she said, well, we investigated and they weren't shooting recklessly and there are no bylaws. In that one area they were in, they weren't in a populated area that control firearms, discharging of firearms. So they said it was lawful. And I said, well, you got someone else called, not just one person. They said, yes, we had multiple calls. And they said, still, we deemed it was lawful. And it was just a stray round coming across through the trees. Now, that is friggin' scary, where the police is not going to go and do anything about people shooting weapons and rounds are going astray.
It's lawful because they don't want to do any paperwork.
Well, they just didn't want to go and paperwork. I don't know. I think maybe they just didn't want to charge them because I think it's a fairly serious charge, right? Discharging a firearm, like public safety, putting the public safety at risk. And it's a Saturday of a long week. I don't know. I can't speculate, but it was just, I thought that was really scary. You got someone, shooting and rounds are coming across the river. And it looks as if it was 2 rounds coming across. And like she was asking me, the constable that called me, she was asking me, well, do you have a video of the shot? Do you know where the shot went? Well, yeah, I know exactly what tree it went into.
Clearly not a concerned person.
Because I think they were looking for evidence. Like, I guess word of mouth, someone calling in and saying it's a shot came over our heads. Maybe they wanted to get more hard evidence. I don't know.
You should trim a little channel in your hair, and then you could point to it and say, "Look, this is where." You know what? Actually, perhaps a reporter from your local paper might be interested in the story.
Yeah.
If you're so inclined, or at least a letter to the editor.
Yeah, it's and there were literally hundreds. Like there was one part of the river where we were canoeing and we were going through and going, excuse me, can we get through? Excuse me. Like it just rafts and canoes everywhere, like completely packed.
Yeah, start canoeing somewhere else.
Yeah. But or just going out on weekdays when there's no Yahoo, it was a long weekend too, right? So you got lots of tourists, wanting to canoe the Grand River.
Yeah. That's too bad. Yeah. Well, maybe if you got hit, the cops would take it more seriously.
Yeah. I should have.
Well, that would be the evidence if you got hurt. That's all they need.
Yeah.
Well, if you had a Kevlar canoe, you'd be a little safer.
Yeah, sure. Grumman.
Yeah.
If you had a Grumman. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's only aluminum.
Yeah.
Tin can. Oh, well. Well, we're glad that you're still here and you made it, you still live to tell the tale. So thank you for that. Little bit of levity. All right. So on to our little tutor project, right?
Yep. Let me just share my screen.
That's what it sounds like.
There, you guys should be able to see my screen.
Yeah, but you're showing the. Oh, there you go.
Yep. It's good.
There, you guys could see that, right?
All good.
So this was O-Seed. one Saturday evening at Dave's. So it was basically a mini build-a-thon. I think Eric and I didn't have anything to do this Saturday, and Eric had got me this kit, and I thought, let's get together and we'll kind of build it. So we got these kits, and I got one. The kit is based on it's a W8BH. What's the guy's name again?
Bruce
Bruce something.
Hall? Bruce Hall, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Bruce Hall.
Yeah.
So Bruce Hall, it's basically Jack Purdom gave a presentation at FDAM 2019 about a Morse tutor. And so they basically took Jack's code. He took Jack's code and Jack's, I guess, design, and kind of built upon that. So there are two versions of the kits. One is based on an ESP32, and the other one is based on STM32, like the blue pill. The ESP32 has Wi-Fi. So the unit that has ESP32 that has Wi-Fi, it's got a two-way practice mode. So it allows two units, relatively close together, to send Morse between each others. So that was kind of cool. So we did our build. Eric, I think it was about an hour. We spent.
Yeah, there's not much to it.
There wasn't much to it, right? We spent about an hour. I think most of that hour was us bitching and complaining.
Yeah.
And then to program the units took about 2 hours because some of the code the guy had wouldn't run. It was generating errors, and it wouldn't compile, and I had to fix it. And so he had good instructions how to load it on the STM32, but no instructions how to load it on the ESP32. And they're missing details on libraries because with the ESP32, you need some additional libraries. And finally, we were able to get the firmware running. And here's basically the kit. Now, this is showing the kit that's the STM32 version. Okay, the ESP32 version similar, except it's got a different, this is a buck converter. So they have a similar, and you could see here's the ESP32 version here. You could see the buck converter here, which is just taking, power from the jack and bringing it down to 5 volts or 3.3. I can't remember. I think the ESP runs on 3.3. So it's bringing it down to 3.3 volts to power the ESP and the STM32. And it's got a rotary coder. It's got an LCD screen where you could select different practice modes. I found this picture here. It was kind of cool. This is from Bruce Hall's website. So here it's the STM, the ESP32 version, but look at where the USB plug is. It's over here. So I think it was an early prototype he had of the board, right? But the way it sits, you can see it here where it plugs in. It plugs in. The ESP32 is flipped around, and that little USB port is sticking out the side. So basically, we got to work. We built. There's Eric building his. There's his desk. He had he's got an iPad, music, PC, like everything.
I take it seriously.
Yeah, no kidding. This is my building area. Notice what I have: a power supply and a multimeter, and that's it, and a soldering iron, and that's it. So here's when I finally got the code to compile and work. Here's the actual finished kit. You can see the ESP32 there. I can't remember I think that's a paddle. That's for doing iambic keying. It's a paddle controller. And that speaker, it's got jack for the keyer. So on the unit, you could have it both iambic or a straight key, power jack, and a switch to switch between power from the unit itself or external power. And here's my kit that's built, and I've got iambic here. So the issue we only had one keyer, and we had 2 units. So it was kind of difficult to test it. So when we were at Dayton one year, we built a little keyer from Rex, and so I dusted that off, and I was able to get that going and connect it up to one of the units. So we had 2 keyers, and here you could see it's connected, and here you can see it's generating Morse code. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I was just hitting paddles. And then I 3D printed a case for it, and that's how it looks in a case. One is a volume knob, and one is the rotary encoder for the menus. And that's the side view, and here it is with all the ports. And here you can see where the USB plugs into the ESP32. So now this is the ad hoc communication. So this is where, because it's running an ESP32, it's got Wi-Fi. So here you could send Morse between 2 units. And here's a demo of me sending Morse between the 2 units. And you'll hear a delay between the Morse that's being generated on this unit and then the other unit. And then you'll hear someone annoying in the background trying to set up a Skype call.
There, I'm there. Yeah, can you hear me? Oh. Oh, hang on. Oh, is that better? Hello? Can you hear me right? Hello? Oh, hang on. Microphone. How about that? Can you hear me now? You can hear me now? I have no idea. Oh.
So there you could see that it was just me. Eric was too busy, to help out, so I had to do it myself. And I was able to send Morse from one unit to the other unit and vice versa. So that was the ad hoc version of it. So I looked at that. Now the problem with this ad hoc, it doesn't use a router. It's only going between the 2 units. It's called ad hoc communication, right? In the Wi-Fi world, it's called ad hoc, where you don't need a Wi-Fi router. You just go in directly point to point between the 2 units. So this only works if you're relatively short distance, 100 feet, a couple 100 feet, and you could go back and forth. So it's kind of great for like maybe a classroom setting. If you're in a classroom and you're teaching the class, you could be sending Morse back and forth and everyone hears it. And there's Bruce has got a video that describes how this ad hoc mode works. Now, this will not work if you're several hundreds or thousands of kilometers away, right? So if you're across the world, you can't use this. So what I decided to do was I decided to modify it, and this is working now 100%. There's a video. If you go to this video here on my YouTube channel, you'll actually see it working, where I've modified the firmware so it talks to an AWS server. So AWS, Amazon Web Services, you can get a free what's called an EC2 Linux platform, and you can set that up, run it, and as long as you're not consuming a lot of CPU time, it's free. So I set it up, and it's running this thing called MQTT. And basically what it's doing, you've got a client and a broker. Okay, and the client, I can't remember the terminology. I think it's a client and a broker. So you're sending an MQTT message to AWS server, and that server broadcasts it to any other unit that's subscribing to that broker. So this here now, you could be anywhere in the world, and you could be sending Morse code between the 2 units. So it's really good for practicing, and all you basically need is internet access. and a Wi-Fi gateway. And as I said, you could see there's a video I've got where I show what I did, why I did it, and how it works. So that's basically it.
Cool, cool.
Okay, very good. So is there going to be a part 2, Dave, for this with the demonstration of?
No, go to my YouTube channel. It's there. Yeah.
But I think we need a live demonstration at some point.
Well, you get your unit working.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
maybe that's something at the weekend.
Yeah, it's pointless me going and talking about what I do in my video. What I would do is show the video to the channel, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I should put a link to that video. Maybe you could throw that into the chat box. Got a link to your YouTube video. Okay, thanks, Dave. That's a nice recap of everything. So, do you have that as part of your video as well, like those slides, or is that just for tonight?
Nope, it's got those slides plus a lot more, because it explains how MQTT works and stuff like that, right?
Yep. Okay.
Cool.
Very good. Yep. I know I've been playing around with my little Morse code tutor. That's actually sort of been my focus for the last month or so, is improving my CW skills. So it's actually kind of handy little device. I don't think. I guess you did have a little bit of a in-action demonstration there. What I haven't done is played with all the different modes. I've just been using it as a straight practice for the key. The little iambic paddle that I purchased at Hamvention this year. So, but yeah, it's a nifty little device. I only scratched the surface of all the features that it has. So, I'd recommend it to anyone. Apparently, they are available again as a kit from I can't remember. I'll put a thing in the chat box if anybody has any interest in checking it out. He's a regular on Ham Radio Workbench anyway. Vince is his name. So I'm sure, Kevin, you've heard him talk about it several times. So on recent episodes. So all right. So Ken, you had a few minutes that you'd like to talk about something?
Yeah. So let's see. I don't know. Maybe a year ago, I was talking about this little Chinese radio, and I was saying that when I received it, the only thing that would work on is the FM radio. No AM, no shortwave, nothing. I contacted the seller and back and forth about 50 emails, and finally convinced them to give me 50% back. So it cost me 25 instead of 50. And then I had put it aside, and then just back in May on the Groups IO for this, it's run by Ricardo Carlotti, SI 4732 Groups IO. And basically, he developed it for all, pretty much all MCUs that you can buy, ESP32s, the pills, Pro Mini, all that stuff. He had developed a circuit for the different MCUs. Someone and it was open source, so you could do with what you want. Somebody made Gerber files for it, sent it up to JCL PCB, and made it open source, and that's how they appeared on the market. The chip, the one I have, uses the SI 4732, and there's also an SI 4735. They both do the same thing. The pinouts are slightly different. in this unit, if you use the 35, it's on the top side of the board. If you use the 32, it's on the bottom side of the board. Anyways, back in May, there was some talk on the group that several people were having the same problem, and it was determined that the AM input to the chip was screwed. So I contacted Ricardo in the group, asked him about these chips, where he's getting them from. He says he's probably bought 120 of them off AliExpress, and none of them have failed. So I ordered a couple for $8. And about a month later, I received the chip. I took the old one off, put the new one on, and lo and behold, the whole thing worked beautifully. I'm not sure if I got the latest software package on it, but anyways, as I was saying, I went camping back last week, and I'm bloody amazed with this thing. With a little whip antenna, I was able to pick up all the CHU time signals, all the WWVs. I'll listen to AM phone on 80, sideband on 40, 20, 15, a lot of shortwave stations, and all with a 3-foot whip antenna. Majority of the time was spent entertaining ourselves on FM, but I am amazed with this little thing. And I have an extra chip. I think I'm going to try building something myself. And that's about it.
Yeah. Dave, got a question for Ken?
Yeah. Oh, how do you lower your hand? There we go. Okay. Yeah, Ken, why AM and 80? Was that just what was available to hear? Or is it can only decode AM on
No. I was listening to CW sideband.
Okay.
There is a group that strictly work AM on 80.
Right. It's that old timers group, right?
Yeah.
They run the old Heath kits and all the tube radios, right?
Yeah. It was pretty cool. Even during the day, I was picking up a lot of stuff.
No, I saw it that night. I can't remember. Yeah, the night you had it beside us, and it was just playing really softly. And remember, we were talking a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I think there's somewhere uppers of $80 now. I got mine for $50. The guy refunded me $25. I spent $8 on 2 chips. It cost me $32. So it's pretty cool. They have another model. This one's called the ATS-20. I think there was an ATS-20 plus. I don't know what the difference is. And then somebody came out with the ATS-100 with a very large LCD on it. Very nice layout.
How is tuning? Is the frequency pretty you tune? It's like a digital readout that you tune the frequency.
Yeah.
Because we talked, and I know Hassan has been saying this for a long time, is that the best piece of test equipment is a radio, where you can listen to a signal, right? So if you have a pretty accurate readout, that could be used to detect RF, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was picking up, when I was working on the DCR, I was using this to pick up the oscillator. So it was working pretty good. I got to try it out on a full-size antenna and try it out and see what it's like. But
What's the power output on it again?
Pardon?
What's the power output on it again? 5 watt?
It's just a receiver.
Oh, just a receiver. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a shortwave radio.
Right. Okay.
It's the SI 473235 is a radio on a chip, basically.
And
SMD chip.
What's the frequency range?
Oh my God! There's like software-wise, they've got it. probably split up into 12 bands.
Okay. Is there in between? Like, does it work like an RTL SDR where you got general coverage for?
Yeah, well, they've got the separate ham bands as well, and then they'll have the short wave, like on 49, 47, whatever.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I was impressed.
Hey,
And the little I don't know what audio amp chip they've got in there, but it has a built-in 8-ohm speaker on top, and on FM the quality of the sound is quite good.
yeah, Ken, I was going to say someone, I don't know if it was Kevin was part of his cool chips or some. I remember someone doing a presentation on that chip.
Yeah, I think it was Kevin. I think it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, I did it. I did the SI 4735, I think, at the time. But yeah, because I remember you were interested after that, and that's what led to your purchase, I think.
Yeah. Well, I've got an extra chip. I think in the winter I'm going to try and develop my own. And see, the one drawback on it is when tuning, it does it in steps of kilohertz, and then they've got a step switch for 1 kilohertz, 5 kilohertz, and 10 kilohertz. And you just push a button when you want to dial in an offset of some kind. So it'd be really nice to be able to tune in different steps without having to switch over to the different steps. But it's pretty cool, And like I said, this Ricardo Carlotti, I think he's in Brazil, PU2 CLR. He has developed the circuit for a lot of MCUs. And that's it.
All right. Well, thanks, Ken. That's a good news story, I guess. Turned something. I remember last time it ended off on a pretty sour note, but you've turned it into a nice little piece for your collection. So, and something to play with as you go on, I guess, too, right?
Yeah. Anywhere I go, I'm just going to take it with me.
Yeah. Should bring it up when you come in a few weeks. So.
Yeah. Well, usually when I went camping, we had this little AM, FM, CD player radio that used C cells for power, and it's probably like this wide and about that thick. It's now replaced with this.
Yep, and better sound to boot.
It's not better sound, but it's getting pretty close to what that CD player sounded like.
Does it have an output jack on it as well?
No, it doesn't.
No.
But that would, let me see here. Yes, it does. It has a headphone jack on it.
There you go. So you can plug it into a nice higher end little portable speaker. So.
Yeah. It's got a built-in 3.6 lithium battery. So just plug it in, charge it up. The first time I charged it up and used it at the campsite, it lasted 2 days.
Nice. Okay, Wayne, you have your hand up.
That actually is an accident.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. All right, Ken. No, thanks very much for that. Again, maybe you might want to put a link, Ken, in the chat box to the one that you purchased, or anything else that you were mentioning there. He said there were a few other models, so just in case anyone's it's piqued their curiosity, and hopefully they don't go down the same path you did with the supplier. But there are multiple suppliers of this. This isn't a sole unit, is it?
No. It's all over eBay and all over AliExpress. My conclusion is that, and talking to others in the group, that AliExpress is the best way to go. Their units are working. Apparently, there was a bunch of units on eBay being sold that the AM pin on the chip didn't work. And the sellers are well aware of it.
Yeah.
So if you want one or one of the other ones, just go to AliExpress.
All right. So I think we're at the point where we'll go just around and talk what's happening. It's round the bench segment. So got 10 of us here to briefly talk about what's on your mind, what's on your work bench, what's coming up, what's your next project or last project, or successes, failures, all of that. So Al, you're first on my screen if you'd like.
Okay.
Share.
Okay, I'm glad your little radio is working. As I got the same one. I've had good luck with it, so I'm glad it worked out for you. My only beef with it is my fingers are too big for the buttons. So if you build a custom version, put big buttons on them. I've been up to a few little things. I wish I could finish some of my projects. I've got so many on the go, and I keep getting diverted. But last month, the Sprat magazine came out, and I went down a rabbit hole, and there was an article there on building a regenerative receiver. So I decided, okay, why not? How hard can this be? So there's the finished result. It's I actually did a printed circuit board for it, and darn it all, it actually works. Which is me and receivers don't have a consistent success rate. I had successes, but I etched up the board, put it together, and away it went. So quite happy with that. So that's what I've been up to. So it worked out really well. So who knows? Maybe when we do our DCR receiver, when we're done with that, maybe we should look at a regen, just another technique to see how that is. Apart from that, not much else going on in Radioland. Work is keeping me pretty busy. So this was just a diversion. So hopefully when work subsides, I do have some antenna work to do, and I've got to reinstall the mobile radio in the cars. So that's kind of what I'm up to right now. Just it's summertime. I'm not really doing an awful lot in the workshop or in the electrical shop. So that's about all for right now. So any questions? Otherwise, back to you, Eric.
What frequency is the regen for?
I built one for 80 meters. You can build it for just about any HF band if you want. You just alter the LC network.
Cool. And how does it perform?
Not too bad. I've got to tweak a few things. I think I have the impedance on my headphones not matched quite right. So it's a little quiet right now, and the article said it would blow your ears off. So there's definitely some more volume to get out of it. But quite frankly, the last week on 80 meters has been absolutely dismal. Even before the meeting tonight, I turned on my SDR to look across the band, and there's absolutely nothing on 80 meters tonight. So maybe I should have built the 40. 40 is always reliable.
Yeah, that's cool though, because it apparently has really good selectivity. So I guess on 80 meters it would be, I mean, you wouldn't have to use really bulky filters or anything.
There's virtually no filter at all.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna have to pick up a copy of that magazine now.
Yeah, I'm sure that could be arranged. It's either by subscription or by individual passing it around. I don't think you can buy it on the newsstands. But I actually like the magazine, and actually that's kind of interesting. I signed up a couple of years ago, and just recently I bought their entire archive on a USB stick. I think it was like $8, or maybe it was £8. I don't recall. So probably five to 10 years worth of back issues. So it's quite a nice resource.
I think I'll do that too, because I like the issues I've read. I think Dave gave me a few old issues, but I'll have to subscribe to now.
Yep. Ken.
Yeah, did you say it was Sprat?
Yeah, that's right. Sprat, the most recent one. I don't think I have it here in the shack.
Okay, no, that's okay.
Taking it upstairs.
Yeah, I was looking at their website on some of their articles when I was camping. I might be interested in picking up all those back issues as well.
Yeah, I believe they call it Sprat on a Stick, right, Al? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get it on DVD as well, but I think the stick is the way to go now.
Yep. Yeah,
And it
no,
was
very.
quite reasonable. I think it was maybe £8.
That sounds about right. I think it works out to about 20 Canadian or so, something like that. But once you've paid for postage, so yeah, definitely a good buy. Dave, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Also, too, they have an Excel spreadsheet. Did you mention the Excel? They have an Excel spreadsheet, and they've got every article, page numbers, so you could do a search. So, say you wanted to find about regens, you'd go in your Excel sheet, search for regens, and I'll find every single article and the page number where they talked about regens. It's I've got the issues. I got it like about 3-4 years ago, and I use it quite a bit when I'm designing stuff.
They also have club sales. So since I was ordering the Sprat on a Stick, and I took the opportunity to order a couple packs of toroids as well. So keep them in mind as well. It's because I know kits and parts might not be around much longer. So any good toroid supplier is greatly appreciated.
We should probably do a group purchase for people who are looking to get some toroids. We should probably just buy the entire stock. Because you're right, Al. That it's kind of troubling that. And the nice thing is, it's quality, and you can say, I want a T2 whatever, and you get it, as opposed to going and hunting around for it.
I hope his online calculators can be preserved. I do use that a lot just for finding out the characteristics or finding out how many turns I need. That's a great calculator.
Yeah, if he should shut down the website, what he should do is keep the calculators up there. I'm pretty sure someone's going to buy them out. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. Do we know anyone who's recently retired that could maybe take over the business?
Let's see.
Dennis from Kanga, UK. Rex.
No. Someone who spends a lot of time in his basement. Who can become the next toroid king.
You're not retired, Eric.
Simba.
No, I'm pretty sure someone's going to pick it up.
Yeah.
Toroids have always been an issue in Canada. Just nobody sells toroids in Canada. It's always been frustrating.
Yeah, I think I'm going to replenish my stock here just in case it takes a little while for someone to pick it up. But I'm pretty sure someone's going to. As I announced, a couple of weeks ago, Tony Parks retired and shut down the site, and somebody picked it up 2 days later.
Yep. These things are worth preserving. So, okay, thanks, Al, for that. All right, Dave, how about yourself? You're next on my screen here. So, anything you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, Ken. After I came back home from camping, we had a lot of weird weather. Did I tell you about Ken? We didn't talk about my antenna, right? Coming loose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my antenna came loose because we had quite a lot of storms. We even had a tornado warning for Paris issued, and it just missed the town of Paris. And what happened? My antenna. Let me just share my screen here for a second. Because what happened as well is we have our neighbor next door. He's having a pool put in, and they've been tamping the ground because they're putting interlocking brick, and they've been tamping it every day, and our house has been shaking. And this bolt here, you could see the bracket here. that's holding this mass against the house, and this bolt came loose, and this entire bracket was tapping against the house, and my wife heard it. I didn't hear it, and so I had to go and fix that. So that's one of the things I did. And then the other thing I've been working on is this. Can you guys see this? No RF. Okay, it's a self-balancing robot. So it's going to be balancing itself. It's got a, you can see here, it's got a, you can't really see it. Right there, you can kind of see it. That's an accelerometer and a gyro, right? It's got an Arduino Nano 2 stepper controllers. It's got the motors. And so I've been playing around with that. Just writing the code for it now to get it to balance itself. So that's kind of what I've been, what I've been working on for the past little while. And a Morse tutor. Prior to that, I got the Morse tutor to, I got my Morse tutor now. And so that's got the updated firmware in it. And I fixed a whole bunch of issues with it, like it wasn't reading SD cards properly. And I fixed a whole bunch of problems. And I spoke to Bruce Hall about it. And we're talking about how we're going to, pass around this new firmware, whether he's going to put it on his site or people are going to go to my GitHub to get it. So we're not sure how that's going to work. But this could be Morse tutor could be a potential build-a-thon for if we've got enough mass. Like I don't think it's that much, Eric, the kit.
No, I want to say 60 something.
Yeah. So, and plus if we do it in bulk, and that comes with everything. You don't need anything. That's LCD, everything, right? And I'm sure maybe we can get a discount, or maybe we could just kit it ourselves, right? So that might be a good project in the future if we're looking for a build-a-thon and we've got a good group of people that wants to learn more.
Are your knobs, are your knobs still solid, or did yours fall off?
No, I took mine off. They're somewhere around.
Yeah.
Oh, here. They're in the case.
Okay. All right.
There's the case there printed.
Right.
I printed the case.
Okay, nice. All right. Thanks, Dave. Drew, you are next.
Well, good evening. I'm sorry I've been missing last month. I've been every Wednesday that you guys have a meeting, I'm on the road to Ottawa. So I'm glad to be here for today. All that said, not a lot of exciting stuff going on. I've been having enormous trouble with my Ender 3 and bed leveling and getting PET-G to stick to the bed. So yesterday, or actually on Monday, upgraded the controller to the newest controller and upgraded and put in a bed leveling sensor. And I just got a PEI bed to put on it. It's been quite a battle trying to get decent prints out of it. I'm not precisely sure what I've been doing wrong. Everything was the same, but it stopped sticking. So that was a challenge. Other than that, I built myself an all-sky camera. Again, mostly just bolting parts together. And it started working last night, so I was quite pleased with that. So the next step is to get it off the roof before the storms arrive tonight, or it'll get swept into the neighbor's yard. So I'm thinking that there are places better than the roof to put it, but I'm not quite sure where it'll end up. But mostly, other than that, just operating FT8. That's about as exciting as it gets.
How long have you had it recording the Skycam?
Yes, I had it working last night for 24 hours. I did get some pictures out of it.
Okay.
The mandatory clouds did come in, but they departed again. So I actually got stars. The biggest challenge with this thing is focusing the lens. I got a Raspberry Pi high-Q camera and a fisheye lens for it. And achieving a really sharp focus is quite the challenge. Infinitesimal adjustments. And so it's, because of the way the software is written, it's quite a challenge to, you adjust it by a hair, literally, and you go and look at the screen and see what the results are. And you go back and adjust it again. So it's a little fiddly. But yeah, it's been a fun project.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you'd think it's not just like a SLR where you can just set it to infinity and you get nice, sharp, crisp. But did you get any satellite tracks or?
Not last night.
No,
but that's what I thought. Is it would be at an infinite focus, right? Like I didn't expect to have to focus this thing.
Right.
And so I was quite shocked. It's the infinity focus is about 2/3 range. It's quite odd. So I don't. It's not properly focused yet. It's at the point where I was able to get a little dome for it. So I put a little dome over the camera, so that's where it is at the moment. But I'm going to have to refine the focus. I'll pull it off the roof tonight because we got 4 days of rain. The other issue was the power supply. Standard Raspberry Pi 3 power supply was getting low voltage over a very short run. So I'm suspicious that the camera pulls more current than I expected. And it was pushing it into low voltage conditions quite often. So I've ordered a 5 amp power supply. So hopefully there'll be sufficient with that power supply to keep it from going low voltage, because I think that's been causing trouble with it. Losing Wi-Fi sync, that sort of thing has been a constant challenge with it.
You're just powering it off the mains, are you? Or
Yep. I didn't do the battery thing yet. I wanted to kind of get it roughed out and working, and then put a 5 amp buck converter in there with a 12 volt battery and a solar panel and see if I can get that to work.
Nice. Okay. Well,
really, your cottage, your barn roof would be a better place to put it.
Sure. Yeah. No, I've seen some of the results from those all sky cams, and they're kind of neat what they pick up, right? Especially if you just leave it running, you can get some interesting, like the fireballs and whatever else, right? So.
Well, even a meteor. I missed the meteor showers last weekend, but my goal was to get it out for those, and of course, missed it by a week, but that's normal.
Right.
Okay. That's
Okay.
about all I got.
Great. Okay. Thanks for sharing that, Drew. So next on my screen, Dwayne. Good evening.
Let me find the stupid unmute button on this
There you go.
laptop.
It's all good.
Yeah, at FDIM this year, Farhan had a presentation and on an analog transceiver, and actually it was just the latest article on it. He just had in the latest issue of QRP Quarterly, so I decided I'm going to start working on it. I kind of went and built the audio amplifier board for it, and in the process of laying out some of the other boards and stuff like that, and seeing how it's coming along. As long as I got a bunch of other stuff I kind of need to and get done at the same time, so it's not going to be one of the high priority projects. And that's about it.
Okay. Thanks, Dwayne. Hassan, what's on your mind these days?
So I got my vertical set up finally. I attached it to a proper post, so it's straight and true, and I got the elevated radials, or 3 of them set up. So I think I might have done one test, and I got some good results. I got reception. I think in 30 watts of power, it went down to the Caribbean, or like tip of South America. So that was kind of neat. But I didn't have time to set up the 4th radial and, I guess to use a better quality coax or anything before I had to leave. So when I came back, a squirrel had chewed through the coax, so I have to get a new cable now. So that's one thing. The second thing I did is just today, actually during the meeting, I got the Blade RF working with an ADS-B receiver. So tracking for aircraft. So that seems to work nicely. I'm trying to get the graphing to work now, where it shows the map, the real-time map updates. But it was look at high frequency signals. So yeah, those are the 2 things on my plate.
Hassan?
Yep.
Something to share with you. One of our members down here wanted to do the weather satellite, and he had a disc cone, and he mounted it inverted.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, and that, of course, so it generated a far superior envelope for reception. So you put a disc cone up for your 1090. If you put it upside down.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's cool.
I thought it was great. I mean, the guy, what a brilliant stroke. And you take a look at the radiation pattern on a disc cone, and it's perfect. I thought I'd share that with you, because if you're going to get into the 1090 stuff, it's fun to watch the planes, and you're in an area where there's a lot more planes than I have down here.
Oh yeah, I can see them right out the window. So they're about like 2 kilometers from the antenna. Actually, about 4 kilometers, 4,000 meters.
You have bigger planes than I do.
Yeah, but I've heard of people getting hundreds of miles of range. So.
Oh yes. If your antenna's up 20 feet, you'll easily get 500 kilometers.
Yeah, so I think this 80-meter antenna the antenna I have has traps all over it, so it's going to block out all the high frequency signals. So I need a proper. I should just mount apparently someone built an antenna with just some bent wires and a connector, and it works. Like, it looks like a spider with 4 legs. The 4 legs are the elevated, like the gradials, and then
are you just describing a quarter wave on a connector?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you build a quarter wave for 1090. It's not going to be very big.
You can mount it on the chimney, or put it up in a drone. Get as much reception as you want.
I was hoping Dave would define how he's going to pick up the field strength of the drone, but I'll leave that for another discussion. Anyways, Hassan, I thought I'd share with you, if you have a disc cone, mount it upside down, you'll get great reception on the 1090.
Thank you. I'm going to have to build one first, but I'll do that.
Is the signal polarized?
Yeah, so circularly polarized.
Or circularly polarized?
So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, a disc cone will pick it up, but I guess it won't have as much rejection. But I don't think that makes that too big a deal.
Well, I have a 1090 receiver that I got from FlightAware. They were looking for people to host their radios. So I put in my name, and they sent me one, and it just looks like a collinear vertical. Nothing unusual. It's not polarized anything.
You're talking about the 1090? You're right. Is just a vertical. I thought he was talking about the weather satellite. Dave?
Oh, weather satellites. Oh yes, yes they are. Sir. Yes, right circular polarized.
No, I was talking about the aircraft.
Yeah, the aircraft is just a vertical collinear. Is all I got.
So is it polarized vertically, or it does matter?
I don't think it matters. I mean, I think the aircraft. I don't know if the aircraft are horizontal or vertical.
It's got to be vertical, because if the antennas are, well, actually, it might be worth checking. I assume
tiny. I mean, we're talking about a paperclip length as a wavelength.
Mhm. But still, the laws of physics, like, they'll still apply. Like, if you rotate it at 40, like 90 degrees, it'll,
You lose 30 dB.
yeah.
Yeah, but why not do a 5/8?
Oh, sure.
If you do a 5/8, you don't need radials. It's just 5/8 wavelength, right?
You always need radials.
I thought with a 5/8 you don't need radials.
I'm not aware of that, but I think it might be a myth. Because I
No,
built
I
a
had back when I was a CVer, I had a 5/8 Ringo, and it didn't have verticals, and that thing was booming. It was, I remember it was a 5/8 Ringo, and I think you could still buy Ringos now. I can't remember who makes them, and there are no radials.
Mhm.
Now you probably need to have a choke. I suspect. I don't. It's like I think if you get a what is it? Your end-fed antennas. If you get it, is it half wave or 5/8 wave? Then you don't need a counterpoise. But if it's a quarter wave end-fed antenna, you need a counterpoise.
Yeah, the counterpoise thing is one you want to talk to Rick about if you get a chance, but they do a little better with a small counterpoise than they do without. I've got mine to match with it. I've got mine to match with one without counterpoise, but I am not sure it's performing the way it should. I was going to do current measurements on the driven element, but I haven't got it done yet.
Hey, Eric, any of the end-feds you've got, they don't have a counterpoise, do they?
I need that, or else I get a lot of RF coming back. I mean, remember that was
Because remember the original one you had?
No.
That one never had a.
no, they don't ship with.
It worked great.
Yeah.
I remember I borrowed that. Remember one time on your porch, we were working in Germany?
Yeah, no, I think the instructions for the end-fed, the PAR end-fed antennas say no counterpoise is necessary. However, you can employ one,
Yep.
and in some cases you'll benefit. So, and yeah, I think you're right.
But like you said.
The end-feds use the shield as a counterpoise. So that's why you put a bell in so you don't get current back in, and then you just put an external counterpoise on it.
Yeah, there is a lug on the one that I have where the transformer is, and yeah, it performs well. I always have it stretched out a lot right underneath it. So
yeah, just put a bell in on your coax. You won't get that RF in.
Choke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Hassan. I see you're muted now, so appreciate the sharing. So, Ken, your mic is unmuted, and you're next, as it happens. So, anything to share with us?
I got manual mute on my headset, anyways. Not much going on. The only thing I've been doing, I fixed this little Chinese radio. Of course, I'm still on the DCR. I'm waiting on somebody to make a few minor changes to the board layout, and I have yet to hear from them. I think I'm gonna have to get on the phone. Besides that, I've got the last week before Labor Day off, so I plan on cleaning out the shack. I think on the Monday I'm gonna open the door and throw a grenade in and then close the door. So hopefully I can get the shack cleaned up and start getting prepared for projects I want to do over the winter. Number of years ago, we did the Pete Giuliano's LBS. I still didn't finish that. I want to get that done. I've got the Heathkit receiver. I want to refurbish a little bit, and a number of little other things to do. But other than that, I haven't been doing much in electronics or ham radio stuff. I did take my radio on camping, but as it turned out, I didn't use it anyways. Too busy. That's it.
Nice. Too busy enjoying the summer outdoors. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Michael, if you're there, good evening to you.
Yeah, I'm here. Yep. And I guess you can see me. Yeah. Not very much radio wise or electronic wise at all. We spent a lot of time this summer driving. We went to Calgary in May, 5 days out, 5 days back. Then we had a couple of trips to Montreal unexpectedly. And then we went to Winnipeg, 5 days out, 2 days out, 3 days. And
Wow.
Hasn't been much time for stuff other than I did say that I would a presentation on the nano-VNA, and that's done. So that's what I did. That's my project this summer. I've done a couple of tests with the nano-VNA, which I'm showing in the presentation, and I want to build a SAM, one of those 3N nano wires, just to show how you use the nano-VNA to check the gain and stuff. And that's really it. Not much else. For me, anyway.
You got family in Winnipeg?
No, we went to Winnipeg. My daughter lives in Kitchener-Waterloo, and her family, a lot of the kids have been involved in what's called Bible quizzing, which is a reach for the top type thing for Bible quizzing. And the quiz master asks a whole bunch of questions, and the kids jump to answer the question. So Peter, her 17-year-old son, won a spot on the national championship, which happened in Winnipeg just a couple of weeks ago. So if you know where Otterburn is, Ken, south of Winnipeg,
yeah,
40 minutes south of Winnipeg, in the middle of nowhere. There's a university there in the middle of nowhere. That's where we went for 3 days of Bible quizzing at the end of July, I guess it was. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
just that's what we did.
Yeah, cool. I was going to say maybe you got lost and ended up in Winnipeg.
Well, no, we saw some wildlife on the way to Calgary, going through Northern Ontario. We saw a moose run across the road in front of us, about 100 yards in front of us. Margot had enough time to get her camera out, her phone out, and take a picture of it running away after it hopped over a fence, and that's about as close as we got to any wildlife.
Yeah, I have a sister who lives maybe 2 miles outside the city, and she's got black bears on her property all the time.
Not good.
Yeah, not good. They got to have the rangers there to set up cages all the time and drag them out.
One thing we did see in Winnipeg, we took a boat trip on the Red and the Assiniboine, and just a tour. And the water levels are so high, and you can see the aftermath of the flooding. The water receded, and you can see all mud and everything all over places that would normally be part of a walkway along the side.
Yeah, the Red River starts in South Dakota, and Winnipeg gets all the runoff from South Dakota and North Dakota.
Yeah.
That's why it's flooding all the time.
Yep. Anyway, that's me.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Sorry, I'm just having some technical difficulties here, but I'm back. Thank you. Yeah, well, I did a little bit of driving across Canada back in the end of June myself, so that's impressive, though. Calgary and back, and then Winnipeg and back. So my hat's off to you. That's a significant amount. And yeah, I spent 24 hours in the Winnipeg area, and I saw some wildlife there. I was in the checkout at the grocery store, and Tim Hortons. There's lots of wild Winnipeg life to be seen there. Maybe a casino. Anyway, but very good.
Especially 2 hours, 2 days, because I think the Manitoba border it's like 20 hours, 21 hours nonstop driving. So Michael, that's pretty impressive.
What we did, we had to get to Winnipeg days because my daughter and her husband flew to Winnipeg, and we picked up. They were staying in a cottage in Tobermory, the whole family. So we picked up their daughter who wasn't vaccinated, and that's why we drove. Well, that's partly why we drove. So we took the ferry across from Tobermory, and then drove to Thunder Bay the first day. That was a long day, like altogether 10 hours, 10 or 12 hours or something. Next day was Winnipeg, no problem, 8 hours or something. So that's what we did. Coming back took 3 days to get back. We went right around Lake Superior coming back. Very pretty out there.
I usually do, if I go through Canada, it's 22 hours for me. If I go through the States, it's about 18, 19 hours.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Michael. Kevin, what have you been up to lately?
Not a whole lot. Just actually, I was thinking about that Morse code tutor when Dave was showing it, and you guys built. I built the kit from just components back when in was it 2019 at FDIM. Jack Purdom, showed it off. So I actually have my own version here. It does work. And then I'm glad Peter isn't here tonight because we'd all be getting razzed about not knowing CW. So if we're going to build that, then maybe we can all learn CW together, and then Peter can stop harassing us.
And someone can get their
maybe.
Canadian call sign.
I didn't want to ask.
So yeah. So anyway, that's. I was thinking about, I should find that. I know I've got it in a box somewhere, and I know it works. But I did the STM32 version, and so it doesn't have all the fancy Wi-Fi stuff on it, but it does work, and it certainly works fine. And I've got an app on my tablet to teach Morse code and all that, so I really don't have any excuses. So anyway, maybe we should set a goal where everybody at least learns the alphabet or something.
Well, I made a bet. If Eric gets his call sign, his Canadian call sign, I'll learn Morse code.
Correction. I think, wasn't it if I upgrade to general FCC license, then?
Nope. If you get a Canadian call, I will go and I will learn Morse.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, I haven't been doing much of anything really. I got to get settled, and then I'll get the shack out of storage and reinvigorate that aspect of stuff. So other than that, hopefully that's soon.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, I guess the penultimate on my screen, other than myself, is Wayne. So what's going on?
Well, I haven't been doing anything electronics related in the last month or so, I think. But what I became interested in doing was after a couple of failures of getting the right results with the results I desired for my pre-selector project, I took it upon myself to see if I could figure out how to measure Q. Now, that's not necessarily too hard, but basically I'm just trying to figure out why I'm not getting the peaks that I saw earlier. I did do a little bit in the last month, I think, it was last month. I did a little bit of looking at a technique called the ring down method, which is the one where you put, this is for an LC circuit, not a single, not the Q of the inductor by itself or the Q of the capacitor by itself, but you put a resonant circuit together, and then you hit it with a square wave at about audio frequency, and it rings a bit. And by measuring the time it takes to cut the magnitude of the ringing down to half, you can, and also the number of wavelengths that you're seeing between them, you can compute what the Q is. So I started playing with that. Got some interesting results, but nothing consistent prior to my putting it aside for a while. And I think the problem is half the time I'm overcoupling it, so it's making what happens is the ringing goes real quick, and it's giving me a lower value for Q than I might be actually expecting to see. But for me to settle it out, I'm going to have to sit down and build a proper test jig and isolate the input and the output from it appropriately. Because when you're using an oscilloscope with this sort of thing, the scope itself, the capacitance in it is a load that DQs the circuit. And I just basically put it aside. I started reading all over the place, seeing what I could find about it. And there's a lot of different techniques you can use for measuring Q, besides buying an antique Q meter. I've seen one where you can use a nano VNA, which I have not tried yet, but I'm interested in getting to that later. So that's basically it for me. I think I'll be enjoying the summer for a bit more before I get back into heavy stuff.
There I am. Okay. All right, Wayne. Thank you very much for that update. Yeah, some of those topics, I know very little about, so it'd be nice to actually even see some of that if you're, whatever, either a short presentation on some of those topics, or just a discussion, a show and tell kind of thing.
I am thinking that. Yeah, I'll bring something back. I might wait till I get the various methods I've seen tested out and maybe do a comparison. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that I think is everyone that was on the screen. As far as myself, I got, I guess, a little bit of a show and tell. Something that would make Peter proud, I guess, he was here. So I'm going to share my screen. Nothing particularly technical here, really, but let's see what I can do. Share a window, and that's probably the best way to do it. So, see if something comes up. There we go. Okay, so this is probably going to be a bit of an eye test for everybody here, but I have been, as of late, working on my CW, as I mentioned earlier. So primarily what I've been doing is listening to the scheduled W1AW transmissions, and I'd say there's been some improvement. So again, it's kind of hard to see here, but over the last maybe 6 weeks or so, getting just sitting there listening, and words are starting to come out, which is kind of nice. Bit by bit, here's maybe last week or so, and again, kind of choppy, but I don't know. I'd say I'm certainly improving. It definitely shows that practice makes perfect. This was last night, and I was actually now this is probably cheating a little bit because out of the corner of my eye, and again, only 5 words a minute, 7.5 words a minute, and the faster it gets, the worse I get, of course, with my decoding. But what I do like is a program that I've found, and I guess,
Eric, excuse me, nothing's showing on your screen, just black.
Oh, nobody's able to see anything?
No, I saw it.
I saw it.
Oh.
I can see it right now.
I have a black screen.
Do you have the grid view or the speaker view up?
I have a black screen.
Oh.
So maybe try to switch to grid view on Jitsi. That you might be able to see. I see it as a separate window in the grid. So, but
I have 2 screens for you. One with your image on it, and the second one is just black.
It's black. Okay. Anyone else seeing black or?
Nope, works for me.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I can see it.
No problem, Michael.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Don't know. So anyway, happy with that. But what I meant to say is I did come across finally a program. I've tried a whole bunch of different things. CW Get, I think, comes to mind. There is another. I've tried the what was it? FL Digi, and finally found one that actually it's I guess trialware. So you do eventually have to cough up for it, but The name of it is MRP40.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a one that people are familiar with, but been very happy with that. So I'll put a link in the chat if anyone's interested. It gives you 30 days to try it, but it works actually remarkably well, even with fairly choppy signals. But what I'm really happy to say is that, with my decoding here, and like I said, some of this I'm glancing over at the screen, but I'm actually sometimes able to outperform it when it comes to certain, it doesn't figure it out, but with context and careful listening, picking out some of the words. So anyway, practice does make perfect with CW. So there's a little glimmer of hope, Kevin. You were talking about learning CW and doing that as a challenge of sorts. So anyway, that's something I've been doing. 2 weeks ago, I departed for New York City for a conference, technology, culture, politics, all that kind of thing. And it's called Hope. So a 3-day conference, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But there was some, let's see if I can get this to come in here. Certainly a lot of technology there, but why do I not have, there it is. Oh, that way. There we go. So certainly a decent amount of radio that was at this conference. So that's the mascot van, I guess, an old Bell service van that's been lovingly restored. That is an icon at this conference. But the trailer in behind actually was an attendee from, I believe he's from, I don't know, somewhere in Midwest. But anyway, in there was several repeaters. So he actually had a little repeater station set up, Motorola repeaters, FM DMR as well. So phone booth. I was actually volunteering this time, so there was a lot of AV that was being set up, and got to be on the setup and teardown and actually running some of the AV for the event. So that was quite a learning experience, mostly on the audio mixing boards. But it was concurrent with another conference that was happening in the Netherlands at the same time, that kind of shared some virtual streams and what have you that you could do both on. But lots of sort of interesting talks. There were several streams going on. These were posted all throughout the event. The repeater frequencies, never mind the PL tone was a little off, 167.9, but DMR, which I never got on at the event. That's actually just one of the evening things. Lots of interesting equipment, musical equipment that was being used by some of the presenters there. I don't know, all kinds of things. There's a a fellow ham that was parked near me that had his Skywarn sticker on the back of his car.
Mm-hmm.
The 2600 van. There is the, I guess, 70 centimeter antenna at the end. That's about 2 stories above where that trailer was parked, and so no radials, but just had that. It actually had a range of about 3 or 4 miles or so before it really started to get choppy. I was about that distance away from the university campus that this event was held on. Beautiful university in the borough of Queens, New York. So new venue for this biannual event that I try not to miss. There's me on the audio mixer. And interesting little sheet of instructions for the people at running boards. So how to handle things, right? So anyway, like I said, interesting seeing it from the backstage, more or less. You get to meet a lot of people, lots of exhibitors, people showing things, some selling things, some just discussing their projects. Here's a guy who I really didn't have much time to talk to, unfortunately. I kept saying, I'll be back, and I was just zooming around to so many things. But this guy, pirate radio stations, try to, I guess, I don't know, keep on top of them and have sort of a running clearinghouse of pirate radio in the area. So that was kind of cool. But wish I had more time to talk to him. Anyway, these are just some things. Here's a badge that a guy he brought 20 of them to sell, but basically mimics a security tag in stores. So sensor mapping tags or whatever for you to have fun with and see how it works. I guess use your Hack RF1 or your RTL STL to see what kind of transmissions are coming out. And anyway, so there you go. Sort of a flavor of that. There was also what was called the hardware. What was it called? Hardware Hacking Village. There was a guy who had a FT8 setup running, just a little dipole strung up between the windows, and he was demonstrating that to anyone interested, making FT8 contacts. So that was the other, I guess, radio thing that was going on there, and amongst other things. I think this is really the only RF thing that I noticed. So there's a close-up of the trailer. I never got some interior shots, unfortunately. Again, just so many things, so little time, really, that to even go in there and see his racks that were set up. I'm not even sure if he had racks. This was a multi-purpose trailer that he had inside. He was actually sleeping in the thing, so as well, that was his accommodations for it. So anyway, that was it. That was a fun 6 nights in the Big Apple, and had a thoroughly enjoyable time there. A little bit of counterculture, a little bit of rebelliousness, and probably some people from 3-letter organizations down in the States that were also interested to see what people were working on there. So that I think is the end of my sharing. Oops, there we go. So turn that off. I think that's kind of been keeping me busy. I'm pretty diligent about the CW practice, doing that just about every weekday when I can. So practice makes perfect. So maybe I'll be able to demonstrate something at the weekend coming up in a few weeks. I've also got I just I ordered at Hamvention a QDX from QRP Labs, Hans. So I've got 3 weeks to assemble that. Maybe we'll get that together and on the air on the new antenna when it goes up. So speaking of which, I did put up a posting. So anyone who is even last minute wanting to come up, please do. Be a fun event. I think we got some things to work on. I've got a few old pieces of appliances that I'd like to harvest some parts out. And my better half keeps asking me, like, why are you keeping all this stuff? And like what? And I blame Dave, because he gives me all the ideas. He says, Eric, those microwave ovens, you can pull transformers out of them. Eric, the TV set, you can pull flyback, transformers, make spark gap generators. So anyway, I'm gonna pull those beasts out of storage, put them on a 6-foot folding table with some tools, and we're gonna go at it. So that's another thing. But if there's any high voltage capacitors in there, I'm gonna ask Dave to, open those up and use his digits to pull those out. So. Anyway, so that's what's going on with me. So, all right, I think that is basically it. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, so I think it's unless anyone else has anything to share, time to start thinking about signing off here. Next meeting is a regular meeting 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, August the 17th. So hopefully. Most, if not all, can make it to that, and that's it. So, if nothing else, everybody have a great evening, and keep burning those fingertips.
Great evening.
Melt some solder.
Thanks, Eric.
A lot of fun.
Thanks, Eric.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Everybody.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.